guys, this is Laura K. Cowan. I write as author Lorelai on Amazon, fantasy, romantasy, and paranormal fiction and poetry. I am, launching Murder of Crows Book 3, The Winged Fox, September 30th, but it's available for pre-order. So we're doing some content now, and I just wanted to read to you the cover blurb of this and one of the journal entries from the book. So basically, the whole structure of this book is like a regular, fantasy novel narrative, but it's interspersed with journal entries written by the main character to create pathways in her mind that she can travel through narrative to basically astral travel or shamanically journey wherever she's going. So that is normally not a literal thing that you do unless you're talking Carlos Castaneda and some pretty intense stuff of distance viewing, but this takes it super literally in this book. So if you like spooky action at a distance, you're gonna love this. Let's see. Okay, so Murder of Crows, The Winged Fox, Book 3. In a multiverse unraveling, Solange, a young spell singer with the rare power to weave reality, is flung into a desperate search for her vanished father and trapped mother. The ancestral library, her home and the heart of all dimensional travel, becomes a shifting battleground as freezing fog consumes dimensions and ancient nature spirits awaken with their own agendas. With her loyal love Kung finally at her side, and her doppelganger Clarissa offering a surprise alliance, Solange must navigate a world bleeding chaos. But when the winged fox spirit Jordan burns the library to the ground and reveals a sinister obsession with perfecting life, Solange discovers that the lines between friend and foe and between life and death are more blurred than she ever imagined. Trapped in a multiverse that is pouring all life force energy into a rogue nature spirit's quest to become a god, Solange and her sea creature humanoid lover Kung must overcome distrust, war, and the machinations of other magical humans in a world where nothing and no one is what they seem. Okay, so I just wanted to read one of the journal entries to you from the book and talk a little bit about what inspired this. Some of you who are maybe my age and older would recognize the Myst video games, M-Y-S-T, that came out, I think, in the 90s. They were desktop video games before, well, I guess alongside console video games, but basically before video was a thing. So you had these adventure games where you're choosing where you go, and you can see sort of images of each step as if like an early version of doing a RPG, first person. But instead of fighting a war or something, what you're doing is unraveling the mystery of what's going on in a world that's full of puzzles, but all the people are gone. There are books and there are pages that are hidden or located to be found in various dimensions that you can step into through different portals. And there are puzzles that kind of protect the secrets through passcodes of different ways of accessing those worlds. So I loved it because who wouldn't? And it was more of a puzzle game, more of a mystery. And there were like water worlds and treehouse worlds, and it was super cool. And then by the end you realize that like the person who wrote the worlds, like his sons went crazy and they can't decide which one is good and which one is bad and who trapped who in a book, and I won't spoil the whole thing for you, but you basically have to choose who you trust in order to figure out the end of the game. Okay, so when I wrote The Winged Fox, I've been waiting for years, honestly, to put like a magical library in a book or to put book portal fantasy in a book. Because I also grew up on like Never Ending Story, which is a book portal fantasy. If you remember, he's reading a book and he ends up in the universe. So this is a journal entry from a book where Solange, the main character, has written herself narratives to be able to kind of mind jump into the portals to get to different dimensions of reality. So we've got different versions of reality, like she comes from one version of Earth in the middle realms, which is like current earthly existence, physical existence. Her boyfriend Kung comes from a different dimension of Earth reality where they have evolved into kind of sea creature humanoids, but they had to come into her world because her dimension because they had to escape their dying world. And Clarissa, Solange's twin, comes from a different version of Muskegon, Michigan. Has very nearly the same story. But both of them are missing their parents and trying to stop something terrible from happening to the multiverse. And Clarissa comes from a dimension where the adults are disappearing and trees are taking over and everything's turning to dust, and magical skill or evolving magical ability through learning the old ways is like the only way that they can navigate it. And so young people are getting together in these little things they call huddles, where they live together like in little magical study groups or communes and try to figure out how to hang on when freezing fog is eating away at the edges of everything and people and animals are being pulled underground by webs of what looks like spider webs and killing them and kind of sucking their life force energy out. So basically the whole world's dying. Solange goes into the dimension of Clarissa's reality where two other girls who are learning magic, Darcy and Annie, have very different ideas about where to travel. And in their dimension of reality, they introduce the concept of not just dimensions, which I think of as kind of like horizontal papers of a book of like the multiverse, right? Different dimensions of reality, different versions of history. So Darcy and Annie teach Solange to travel to the upper realms of any given dimension, which is sort of like heavenly realms full of ascended masters and wisdom and angels and stuff. And then the middle earth realms, which is the earthly plane, and then the lower, darker underworld realms, which aren't evil, but they have more to do with the past and shifting the past timelines so that they can figure out what to do in the future. But it's plenty earthy and scary down there. So Solange starts writing these journal entries in order to travel, because otherwise the dimensional boundaries have been locked in the last book, The White Hurricane, for safety. So, library journal. Ontonagon, Porcupine Mountains, year of wandering in the middle woods. My name is Solange, and I've started this journal to note down the types of creatures I found in the forest while looking for my father and the griffin. I saw a fox behind a big cedar tree last week, and he almost looked like the creatures that took my father, but not big enough, and the tail was all wrong. It's like you have to blink twice before seeing these creatures, or turn around counterclockwise, or they will be there, but you can't see them. The wings of the griffin who took my father were more like angel's wings, with colors that I've seen in books of the upper realms of the inner world. But I don't know of any animals with wings like that in outer reality. I don't know of any angels that are real either, just trees that visited occasionally. These light realm spirit studies don't ring true to me, but the magic of old mythical creatures sure does. That's because I've seen them outside the library. I'm afraid to run into the Sea Queen. She is plotting something involving taking power from the light guides. I just don't know what it is. I can feel her eyes on me, but I can't write about that or it will create a new pathway for her. I'm still looking for my father. He had more magic, especially when we were out in the woods, that powered his spell song. He used to take me canoeing on the lake so I could see the waves crash over the cliffs on Lake Superior over the far hills. Sometimes I think the woods is the wrong place to look for my father, or the wrong place to find my own nature spirits. I didn't expect to feel this alone out here. All kinds of animals slink past, lizards, rats, haggard old wolves with glowing eyes. None speak a word to me. I am cut off from the outside world. And then we got a second journal entry here. They take place out of time of the narrative, but they give you little clues about what's going on or how they're making this travel work, and sometimes they hint at things and say, I can't tell you the whole thing, or the guides will follow me through that pathway. So it's meant to be like Myst in the sense that every time you look at a book or go through a portal, you're trying to figure out where you are, who to trust, like how it works, and also solve the mystery of how to stop what's happening to the world. Library journal portal, Grasslands, Library, Ontonagon, Porcupine Mountains. The plains are burning because of the war. It started so quickly. One minute I was here with Jordan. The next, Darcy and Annie stood over us dressed like goddesses. Annie is forever gossamer. You can almost see through her when she sings to her devas in the light upper realms. Darcy is a darker breed and makes a good magical human of the dark underworld realm. Her feet wither the grass in her world where she steps. She is taken to eating pomegranate seeds and spitting them on the grass for dramatic effect. They were so grown up when they came to the earth plane I barely recognized the two. Their magical tattoos were the same as their guide species of owl and salamander. Jordan says there's always a tell, so you can identify a soul by its personality, even if it has completely altered its physical appearance. That's reassuring in a place as shifting and fluid as this, with the protrusions stalking our every step from the Queen's brine pools. Kung always knows how to look for tells. Everything can change, but never a person's soul, which I believe he can see. How else did he find me? We are two sides of the same coin, two pomegranate seeds from the same fruit, I'm sure of it. If you train in natural magic, know that you can ask a spirit whom it serves, or if it is for the highest outcome for everyone involved. If it gives an unsatisfactory answer or disappears, move along. They cannot grasp you if you don't want them to. They're only able to get at you with your permission and attention. For this reason, it's important you keep your vision on the highest and purest of intentions when you journey a spell song path to seek guidance. Otherwise, it won't be long before you slip down into a darker path or meet a deva that you think is of the light who is only pretending in order to manipulate you into serving their goals. This world can be confusing because a lot of it is molded by your mind and the symbols it already knows. You see what you want to see. Be careful with what you want to believe. That's why the magical humans who have studied spell song have more power to create new spells and to meld into nature to survive. They have more histories to work with in their minds. I wonder if that's why the less magical humans are frozen and pulled underground. Their memories are absorbed by the fog. Without memories, what can you do? Pay attention to the symbols from stories. They light the way. If you are lucky enough to find books, you may have an advantage. Darcy is playing at a harvest maiden goddess. She is really more interested in creation and destruction cycles than making new species, and the tell is in her eyes. When she visits the earth plane, her eyes are those of a salamander. You can see she lives her life under rocks and in damp, dark places near water, where life begins and ends. Her skin is pale and sticky. The access point to the dark realms is easy to find in the northern Porcupine Mountains, but dangerous. Look for caves in the mountains and a deva who can help you travel the rest of the way to the Superior Lakeshore. Guides up there are shriveled, very old, from living under glaciers in ancient times. You shouldn't trust any souls of ancient men, as they are jealous of the future of humanity. If you leave a book of histories in their caves, they will steal it to change the past. One more thing, don't stay in the caves too long. The devas are waking up because of the species they guard dying, and they are angry at how much of nature has been destroyed. A lot of the nature spirits are helping the trees, who are taking back the lands humans raised centuries ago when the forest stood helpless and nearly died, especially in the accessible flatlands. The deva guides say that this world is too much like the last, and they might have to start over with humans worshiping the old gods. I fear what kind of gods they want to become. The magical humans are beginning to say the same thing about the devas. They are too powerful already on both sides. Enough destruction. It must be time to create again soon. How much of the world can be destroyed before it's too late to make it right again? So, I hope that you will join me in picking up a copy of The Winged Fox by Lorelai, part of the Murder of Crows series. It's a new series and it's a new pen name as of a couple books ago, so if you can't find it very easily, put the full title and author name in, it should pick it up. But I'm still trying to get a little more visibility, a lot more on the algorithm. So help me out, like, share, and subscribe, and follow us on socials. If you'd like a free copy in exchange for an honest Amazon review, you can sign up for our ARC, or Advanced Reader Copy Reviewer list, which is available on the Cronicle Press website. That's chronicle.press, Chronicle spelled without the H, where we cover lakefront lifestyle and business topics related to being a creative solopreneur and being a digital nomad in Michigan on the Great Lakes, and as well as publishing fiction. And it also connects in with my writer's cabin, which is a rental vacation house. We are going to have either a giveaway of a weekend in the cabin related to this launch, or host a writers and artists retreat later in the fall. So give me your input on which you would prefer. I will be launching that shortly. And in order to enter that, we will be taking entries just from the subscriber list on socials and the email newsletter. So in order to enter, just make sure that you subscribe. Follow us on social media on whatever platform you use. We're on Facebook, IG, Twitter, or X, LinkedIn, and yeah, sign up for the email newsletter on the Cronicle Press website so that you can know about all of the stuff we've got going on coming up. And if you comment or like, share, and subscribe, and leave some sort of email address to contact you, I will be able to contact you if you win a stay in my cabin or to come to our retreat. But I gotta work out the details, so that's just the structure of it. So if you want to know more, stay in touch for that. Do that right now, and then you'll already be entered by the time we figure out what we're doing. And yeah, stay tuned. I'm super excited. We got another poetry collection coming out this fall. I'm going to be taking you north with me to a writing conference that's in a really natural setting that's super beautiful, and you can come along and see how I work. And then next spring, Ghosts of Detroit, book 4 in the Murder of Crows series will be coming out, so I'll have cover art for that soon. And yeah, then we get to go on to Step Through the Moon series, which should be extra fun with ghosts and bootleggers and cryptids and Lake Michigan. So thanks for your support, and I will see you soon.